I'm here with Michael Garrigan, last year's winner here in Winnipeg, the defending champion this year for national championships. So Mike, what did it mean to you? Last year you won, you hadn't won for 7 years. You've been fighting for so many years. You won again 2014. What did that victory mean to you last year?
Last year was awesome. I mean, to win again, I'd been trying for quite a few years to get another top result, and last year was kind of like a confirmation that I had made.
Chiming in, I'm glad there's live streaming this year as well as last year, so it's good.
Well, good luck tomorrow. Hi everyone, I'm here with Michael Vandenham, Brandon-born Michael Vandenham. We're in the Reader Insurance International Broadcast Center. Michael, you've started a new cyclocross team. Tell us a bit about the cyclocross team that you set up.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm riding for the Red Truck Garneau presented by Easton Cycling Cyclocross Team. It's an initiative that my teammate Craig Ritchie and myself sort of came up with. We really wanted to start sort of an elite level cyclocross team in Canada for Canadians to aspire to and to give something for sort of the next level of cyclocross in this country. So basically what we did is we took together all the group of sponsors that support the Trek Red Truck team, and a lot of them came together, and they're a big part of the sponsorship group we have. And then we also added Garneau, so we're riding the brand new Garneau Steeple X, and then Easton's another big sponsor of the team. We're on their wheels, bars, and all that. And then we've also added a bunch of really great smaller sponsors, sort of guys that we just manufacturers we wanted to work with: Crank Brothers, Gorp, Rumble, Mad Alchemy, Vittoria Tires. And it's been great, a lot of work, but I'm really happy with how it's gone so far this year.
Great, and so I'm really looking forward to you guys racing tomorrow. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
So we're live back here at the Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championships. The men are a minute away, less than a minute away from the start. This, I think, is the best ever men's field we've had assembled on Canadian soil for cyclocross. We're going to do our quick fantasy cyclocross picks. Meredith, who's your first pick?
My first pick is Raphael Gagne. He's had a great mountain bike season. I would imagine he's probably in still pretty good form, and so I expect to see him at the front of today's race.
I'm going to pick Kabush. Jeff Kabush is my first pick. He was second here last year.
My second pick will be Aaron Schooler, who is a fellow Focus teammate and who I see racing over in Europe a lot, so I expect a lot from him today as well.
And my second pick is Michael Vandenham, the local rider, and the riders are off. The riders are underway here. The men's elite championship here. 60 minutes of racing action here. Our final race of the day for the national championships. Who is going to get that whole shot position? It looks like Michael Vandenham and Raf Gagne at the front of this race. They're in those red truck Garneau jerseys, very red jerseys, so we should be able to see them quite clearly, but I think it's Raf Gagne.
Yeah, these guys are off to a fast and furious start. There's a lot more. The field in the men's race today is a lot bigger than what you just saw in the women's race. So I expect to see a lot bigger group at the front of today's race fighting it out for the win.
So that is Michael Vandenham in the lead. Michael Garrigan sitting about second spot. Raf Gagne in third. Jeff Kabush in fourth. Aaron Schooler, it looks like maybe in fifth spot right now. Mark McConnell is up there of Hot Sauce Cycling. So right now, I'm pretty sure that's Michael Vandenham, Mike Garrigan. Look at that, the interesting lines through that corner. Mike Garrigan going lower there.
Yeah, some of these tight turns, it was a little bit easier to drop down low so that you had a good shot of riding right up the little incline instead of trying to cut across and potentially sliding out. As the sun is dipping down now, I can imagine that the course might be starting to do up just a little bit, so it's going to be a little bit slipperier than it might have been for the women's race.
Yeah, we're starting to get a little bit of overcast conditions. It's still around 10 degrees Celsius. This course is still pretty fast compared to what we saw yesterday with a whole bunch of rain coming down. But right now, that is Michael Vandenham, your leader. Mike Garrigan in second. Raf Gagne in third. Jeff Kabush, I believe, in fourth. And I think that might be another Scott Three Rocks rider in fifth spot. Scott Three Rocks has several riders here, 3 riders. So just trying to get a visual on those riders. I can see a couple Norco factory riders.
And we can
back
see
there.
the guys here getting bunched up in this turn. Some of the guys chose to dismount, which is sometimes the fastest way to get through a turn rather than staying on your bike. It's oftentimes in a cross race you think, oh, I got to stay on my bike. It's the fastest thing to do, when in fact it's actually faster to just get off your bike, dismount, and sometimes you can make your way through the crowd faster than you can running, or faster, you can make it through the crowd faster running than you can actually riding.
So Michael Vandenham, Brandon-born Michael Vandenham having a great start here. Mike Garrigan, the defending champion, having a great start as well. So that is your men's field here. We're underway in Winnipeg for the Men's Elite Championship. We're just going to take a short break and we'll be right back with the Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championships presented by Volvo. So one of the key features of this course is the Tetra Design Nola Paint. It's an off-camber corner. It was a factor in last year's race, and with the rain here today, it could be a factor again. We've got the Scott Three Rocks guys checking out the course right now. This is a critical feature for the National Championships. One short section of this course that you won't see on camera is this forest section diving down into the mud. Could be an issue tomorrow. Will definitely affect tire selection for the race. So one of the sections you won't see on the broadcast is this muddy descent right after the triple sand pit. It's Friday night, it's a little bit late. You can see this could be an issue. Right now it's wet, and actually there's going to be quite a few riders here racing Friday night in our open race. So Saturday this could be a factor. You saw one rider go down. It all depends how this dries out. We've got Michael Vandenham coming through just showing how these riders to do this downhill. So this could be an issue on Saturday. So we're back live here in Winnipeg with the Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championship presented by Volvo, and it looks like we've got 5 riders at the front. And look at this, Jeff Kabush, your early leader, Michael Garrigan in second. I believe that's Ralph Gagne in third. Then we've got, I believe,
Michael Vandenham and also Derek Zanstra.
Yeah, so Derek Zanstra having a great ride here. He's mainly focused on mountain biking. I know he was himself joking that he maybe needed to attend the boys clinic that we had here last night to learn some cyclocross skills. But I think he's got enough skills here. He's hanging with this lead group right now, and you know what? It is still very, very tightly bunched. We've got 2 Norco factory riders, Evan McNeely and Andrew Lesperance in there as well. So we got, that is Jeff Kabush in the lead, but we've got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 riders still all together, and that's what we thought would happen. We thought there was 9 to 10 riders here that would be battling for a podium position, and that is happening right now.
Yeah, I believe when we talked to Michael Vandenham the other night and we asked him who, if he had to pick his favorites, other than himself of course, who he would pick, and he had a really hard time answering because he said there are about 10 guys here this weekend who could win today's race, and I think we're seeing that. It's going to come down to the wire for these guys.
And one thing that's interesting, right behind Derek Sanchez, I notice is Cameron Jetty. So Jeff Kabush has 2 teammates with him, and then there's also 2 red truck Garneau racers. We got lots of fans coming down. They're making some noise here. They're into the Shimano triple sand pit for the first time. That is Kabush. That is Garrigan. That is Ralph Gagne. And then we've got, I believe, Derek Santra, Michael Vandenham, and then I think Cameron Jetty, and then I think Mark McConnell right behind them. So we've got still 10 or 11 riders still close together to do that third part of the Shimano triple sand pit.
Unlike in the women's race, I think this is really going to come down to a lot of tactics. So whether or not we see, some of these riders who have multiple teammates in this race, if they are going to use each other and play some tactics out there, it's not something you typically see in cross racing or mountain bike racing. But you never know. If one of the guys goes off the front, the other teammates aren't going to chase. They're definitely going to leave it up to some of, to the non-teammate doing the chase. But right now, it's definitely a big group together. We're going to see a lot of tactics that come into play here today.
And this is interesting. Your defending champion is in the lead here. Michael Garrigan, he was playing down his chances this week, but right now he is leading this race just ahead of Jeff Kabush and Ralph Gagne as they head towards that run-up. It'll be interesting to see how these riders tackle this run-up. That is Michael Garrigan now onto the run-up. Jeff Kabush, we should be able to get a good view of these riders. That is Mike Garrigan. That is Jeff Kabush. That is Ralph Gagne. That is Michael Vandenham, Derek Santra, Cam Jetty, Mark McConnell right in there as well. Then we've got, that looks like Andrew Lesperance and Evan McNeely in there from from the Norco factory team. So we've got 7 or 8 riders totally bunched together. I'm not sure who that rider in blue is. I've got to confirm who that rider in blue. I think that might be Derek St. John. We'll just get a confirmation of that rider in blue, his number. But right now we've got Michael Garrigan leading this race here. Jeff Kabush in second. They're in the Volvo Vortex for the first time. Ralph Gagne, Michael Vandenham, and then Jeff Kabush's 2 Scott Three Rocks racing teammates. Jeff Kabush having a great start here. We've got a pack here, and as Meredith mentioned, we've got some potential for tactics and maybe some team tactics here.
It's going to be interesting to see who really wants to take this race by the horns and go to the front and start to set the pace. It looks like Garrigan's off to a fast start and really wanting to kind of own this race and make it his and make everybody else start to chase him. And so we'll see what the guys from Red Truck and Scott Three Rocks start to do and whether or not they go to the front and they start sending guys off.
So just confirmation on that rider in blue, that is Aaron Schooler. He's got a new kit this year. I didn't recognize that right away. Aaron Schooler 5 times. Look at this, we got a pack coming through that start finish. Aaron Schooler just at the back of that. Then we've got those Norco factory team riders, Andrew Lesperance and Evan McNeely coming through. So we've got a tight punch at the front of this race. That looks like that is Derek St. John just coming through the start finish. Look at this, this looks like a road race almost. We've got these riders all together. Normally you don't see a lot of tactics, a lot of drafting in a cyclocross race, but we're seeing some of that today on this fast course.
Oh, definitely. When we were out there racing earlier today, there were some windy sections, not so much where you really need to tuck in, because especially through a lot of this tight and twisty stuff, there's really nothing you can do to save yourself from the wind. But being at the these sections is definitely key. You get an advantage leading through this just because you get to pick your line, and if anything happens, then it's the people behind that are gonna pay for it.
And you can really see the riders picking different lines. Some riders staying high, some riders staying low. Michael Vandenham, he has moved into the lead. He is from Brandon, Manitoba, the local favorite, and he's in that red jersey of the Red Truck Garneau team, just coming over the PCL construction flyover. Some great pictures from our camera people here today. So that is Michael Vandenham, Mike Garrigan, Jeff Kabush, Derek Sandra, Cam Jetty, Ralph Gagne, Aaron Schooler, Mark McConnell having a great ride. Last year, Mark McConnell was not a factor in this race. He went over to Europe. He had a great European campaign, and now he is battling here with the top men in Canada. So great ride by Mark McConnell of Hot Sauce Cycling. So they're now onto the Ridley Ridge.
So we're getting word that this race is going to be a 7-lap race, approximately 56 minutes of race time. The guys clocked an 8-minute first lap. So they're definitely picking up the pace right out there right now.
Yeah, they're sitting some fast times. So now, last year we saw lap time just under 8 minutes. Live here for the 2015 Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championships in Winnipeg at the Forks, the heart of downtown Winnipeg, at the junction of the Red and Assiniboine Rivers. And you're watching the second lap of the Men's Elite Championship. And we've got 5 or 6 riders at the front. It looks like maybe a little bit of separation now for some of that large pack at the front. But I believe we've got Michael Vandenham and Raphael Gagne from the Red Truck Garneau team at the front of this race right now. That looks like Michael Vandenham. Yes, Michael Vandenham is leading. He is out of Brandon, Manitoba. Then we've got Jeff Kabush and then Mike Garrigan. So Mike Garrigan, who's been downplaying his chances all week long, and it's his birthday today.
Oh,
Mike
yes.
Garrigan is having his birthday today, and he's celebrating it in style here.
Absolutely. I know at the beginning of a women's race, typically if someone's on the start line with the birthday, we'd sing happy birthday to her. I doubt that probably happened today before the men's start.
This is a ferocious race here. Michael Vandenham in the lead right now. Jeff Kabush, Mike Garrigan, Raphael Gagne. So now we got a little bit of separation back to some of those Scott Three Rocks racing groups. Riders, then we've got Mark McConnell. Then I think it's Evan McNeely and Aaron Schooler in blue there. So a few other riders here. That looks like Derek St. John, I believe, moving up in this field.
Yeah, I wonder now if the red truck guys, Mike Vandenham, are going to start playing any tactics. We see Cameron Jetty and Derek Zanster coming through as well to be up there to help Jeff Kabush. So, you know, I think going to come down to a pretty tactical race.
Yeah, so that's Michael Vandenham in first. And you know what? That is Cameron Jetty. Cameron Jetty is in second spot for the Scott Three Rocks racing team. And then it's Mike Garrigan. Cameron Jetty having a great race here for Scott Three Rocks Racing. He's trying to go with this move, but the fans are cheering on. Brandon Bourne, Michael Vandenham in red there. The fans starting to get really, really rowdy here on the second lap here in Winnipeg. The local rider just from Brandon, Manitoba, 2 hours west of Winnipeg. He's leading this race. He's making a move right now. Cameron Jetty trying to go with him. Ralph Gagne responding. Mike Garrigan responding as well. Then it's Jeff Kabush. Then Derek Sandra. Then I believe that might be, I'm not sure, that fifth rider right now, but first is Michael Vandenham. They're now heading to that muddy downhill section that's just off camera, but Michael Vandenham, the local rider, he is going hard right now. And Cameron Jetty, I'm surprised. He's having a great ride here. Last time he raced in the national championships was 2013, and he got a bronze medal, so he's looking for something like that right now. But now we've got two red truck Garneau riders at the front. Michael Vandenham still in the lead. Cameron Jetty now just pulling back into second spot.
You saw Gagne start to come around Cam Jetty, but then he kind of set up a little bit, let a little bit of a gap open up, forcing Cam to come around and do a little bit of work to close that gap. So this is where we're starting to see some of the team tactics come into play.
And actually now that's Ralph Gagne who's moved into the lead. Ralph Gagne, I believe, just got to get confirmation. Those guys look quite similar in their red truck Garneau kits. Aaron Schooler looking strong in that blue kit. So yes, that is Ralph Gagne who's now moved into the lead. Michael Vandenham, I believe, is in second. Cameron Jetty in third. So we'll see if we get just a bit of a close-up on those lead riders. I'm thinking that is Raphael Gagne out of Quebec.
You know, this is exactly what Mike Vandenham was talking about the other night when we talked to him about it. And, you know, of course, as much as he would like to win today's race, he wants to see one of his own teammates win the race. And so this is where we see Mike sitting at the front of the race. Hey guys, that's my teammate off the front. I'm not going to do the work. If you want to come through, but I'm going to be right on your wheel. So if you catch him, then I'm the next guy to go.
Yeah, so that is Ralph Gagne in the lead. And now it looks like Jeff Kabush is taking up the front of this pack here. And Mark McConnell still in there as well. Aaron Schooler in blue. And then Mike Garrigan has fallen back to about 8th spot right now. Yeah, so it is Ralph Gagne in first right now. Jeff Kabush in second. And they're now coming through the start finish. That is Raphael Gagne heading out on his third lap here of this 7-lap race. So I'm going to get a time gap there. That time gap is running about 4 or 5 seconds. So we'll see if the Scott Three Rocks Racing team can start to work to reel him in. But Ralph Gagne, who has had an absolutely stellar season this year, I watched him win the Pan Am Games when they were in Ontario back in July. He won the Pan Am Games mountain bike race. He was also, I believe, 6th place in the Wyndham World Cup in August.
I can imagine that this is not a guy that the other teams are going to want to sit back and just let right away off the front. They're going to have to do their work early because this is not a course that's going to really create too many separations naturally. This is a fast course, so these guys are going to have to do their work early to close down that gap. Yeah,
this is a very, very dangerous rider at the front of this race. Raphael Gagne, you can see the different lines these riders are taking, but that is Michael Vandenham back in second. So Scott Three Rocks is struggling a little bit, trying to reel in Raphael Gagne. And I know Jeff Kabush, he has won a lot of national championships, but he wants a national championship here in Winnipeg. So we'll see if he can respond to this move by Raphael Gagne.
Yeah, Jeff Kabush has actually won 5 Canadian Cyclocross national championships, and I'm sure he'd love to add another one of those to his palmares. So I don't expect that he'll be sitting in too much longer before he has to take the responsibilities down rock.
So now we've got that Scott Three Rocks rider moving to the front here. Michael Vandenham is sitting in 3rd spot. So you're just watching the chase group on camera, and they're sitting about 4 or 5 seconds. You can see Raphael Gagne coming through that section. So that time gap starting to expand a little bit. It's looking like about 5 seconds now between Raphael Gagne and that 2nd place rider, Michael Vandenham, in 3rd. They're on their 3rd lap here of this 7-lap race. So just under a third of the way through this men's national championship here in Winnipeg. The Canadian championship is what you're watching right now here at the Forks in Winnipeg.
And these guys are really flying right now. Their lap 2 time was 7:43, a full 17 seconds faster than their first lap time. And I expect that we'll just see it get faster and faster as the race goes on.
So we're going to take a short break here. One thing we're going to highlight on this break is the other big event here in Manitoba, the event that was a stepping stone for us hosting the national championships here. It's a great race held at the Red River Co-op Speedway. So we'll take a short piece here on Darkcross.
They've got about a lap.
So we're back live here with the Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championships. You are watching the National Men's Championship here at the Forks in Winnipeg, and you're watching Raphael Gagne lead this race. They're now heading onto that old railroad bridge. I've just been informed it was built in 1888. That's what they're racing on right now, and we've got quite a train going, and that gap is closing. That gap is closing to Raph Gagne. So Scott Three Rocks Racing is starting to make a move here, and I believe, I'm not sure which Scott Three Rocks Racing rider that is, but they are deciding right now they are not going to let Raph Gagne get away with this race, and that time gap is 3 or 4 seconds, so it's down to 3 or 4 seconds. So Raph Gagne in that red jersey with the bright yellow bike, that is the Red Truck Garneau team. That is Raph Gagne out of Quebec. There has not been a Quebecois Canadian men's cyclocross champion in over 20 years, and that is what Raphael Gagne is going for. But we've got a Scott Three Rocks rider going, trying to close that gap, and right on his wheel is Brandon-born Michael Vandenham.
Yep, now we're starting to see a few more splits opening up in this front group as the pace picks up and the chase is on to bring back Raph Gagne, and that looks like Jeff Kabush there on the front chasing back Raph Gagne. And, these guys are really going for it before they hit. Oh, nope, that must have been...
I'm thinking that might even be Derek Sanstra. So we'll see.
Yes,
yeah, I think it's Derek Sanstra who is sitting in second spot. Yeah, it's Derek Sanstra, and that gap is only a few seconds, so we've got a massive race in our hands. And I think that's Evan McNeely, I think in 4th spot. So he's charged across to this group. That is Derek Sanstra. He won a mountain bike race just a couple weeks ago in the Dominican, so he's on great form, and he's pulling Michael Vandenham back to Raph Gagne. So that is your top 3 right now. So that, on your camera right now, that is Derek Sanstra. Right behind him in red, that is Michael Vandenham. Michael Vandenham wearing number 1 here today, and I'm sure he's number 1 in the hearts of the local fans here. Then we've got Aaron Schooler now just heading on the run-up, Jeff Kabush, then Mark McConnell, and then, not sure who that other rider is in that group, but they're now through that Shimano triple sandpit.
And you can imagine that Mike Vandenham is going to be glued to Derek Zanstra's wheel right now, because if they make that catch, then it's going to be up to Gagne and Vandenham to decide if they want to attack Zanstra again, or if Zanstra's just going to go to the front, ride right through Roth and just keep the pace on.
So that gap is down to 2 seconds right now, and I've just been informed Jeremy Martin, one of the top riders here, has had a bad crash. Jeremy Martin has crashed and he's out of the race. He's just in this harbor area. He had a bad crash. We believe Jeremy Martin is out of this race. But right now, at the front of this race, it is coming back together again. I just want to see who that Norco, that is Evan McNeely, that Norco factory rider. Aaron Schooler now making a charge in 5th. Jeff Kabush in 6th. Mark McConnell still in this race as well in 7th. And then we've got Cameron Jetty in 8th spot on the run-up. Wow, this pack is coming back together now. They are on their 3rd lap. They're near the end of their 3rd lap. They are in the Volvo Vortex right now. Look at this, it is coming back together again. Rolf Gagne in red. Then we've got Derek Zanstra having a great cyclocross race. Michael Vandenham in 3rd spot. Derek Zanstra almost 100% focused on mountain biking, but today he's showing the mountain bike fitness that he carried him to a victory in the Dominican just a couple weeks ago. So he showed up here with great fitness, and he is in the hunt for a national cyclocross championship. He was the national mountain bike champion in 2013, and he's looking for another championship here in the cyclocross discipline.
Yeah, he doesn't care if it's a mountain bike or a cross bike. A win's a win's a win, and especially at Canadian National Championships, it doesn't matter. So he was really on the gas to bring Raphael back, and I'll be curious to see what happens now through the start-finish stretch as those 3 kind of come back together and see if the red truck guys start to play any more tactics with Zanstra there.
So now back at the front of this race, through the start-finish, it is a pack of 3 riders, and Evan McNeely only a second or 2 behind. Wow, what an exciting race we've got here on the 4th lap here of the 7th lap race. So they're just under the halfway point, and I believe that might be Michael Vandenham, who's moved back into the lead here. Oh my goodness, Brandon Bourne, Michael Vandenham being cheered on by the fans here. He's in red. He is leading those 3 riders onto the Tetro design Knoll of Pain. Wow, what a battle we have here. Derek Zanstra in 2nd spot, Rolf Gagne in 3rd spot. And I'm going to get a time gap here back to, so it's 2 seconds back to Evan McNeely and Jeff Kabush, Aaron Schooler right there as well. So this is a 5 or 6 rider race. It's so interesting to watch the different lines these riders are taking. They both seem to be about the same amount of time, a little more distance, but the lower line, they seem to be able to carry it a little bit faster.
Yeah, and that's where I was kind of riding it earlier today, but it was also a little more slick on that off-camber section. So you were taking risk by cutting across and sliding out versus dropping all the way down and being able to go straight up that little hill.
So you're listening right now to Steve Scholes and Meredith Miller. Meredith Miller doing the color commentating here. A great job by Meredith. She'll be racing tomorrow in that Manitoba International Grand Prix with a bunch of other top American riders. Tomorrow will be the US versus Canada, but right now it is all Canada. It is Michael Vandenham, Derek Zanstra, and Rolf Gagne.
Yeah, these guys are absolutely flying. They just turned in an even faster third lap by another 6 seconds or so. And so these guys, especially Red Truck front right now with Zanstra, they do not want this to come back together. They're in a really good position where they're 2 against 1, and so they're going to stay on the gas and really try to keep all these riders separated and don't want a big group at the front where it could come down to a big sprint.
So I may have missed it a little bit. I'm not sure if Zanstra had a little bit of a slip, but I think that we've got a red truck rider making a move right now, and that is Michael Vandenham. Michael Vandenham, a local rider only 2 hours out of Winnipeg, was where he's born, Brandon, Manitoba, is making a move now, and I'm not sure if Zanstra had a little bit of a slip up because he's back in 3rd spot. We're just hearing on course one of the riders. We have a DNF by Olli Hutiainen, one of the local riders from Winnipeg, Manitoba. He is out of this race. Also Jeremy Martin. Jeremy Martin is out of this race, we believe, with a crash here. So right now, your top 3, Michael Vandenham out of Manitoba, Rolf Gagne out of Quebec, and Derek Zanstra out of Trenton, Ontario. So we're going to take a short break here, and we'll be right back.
too low.
So one of the neat things, so we're back live here in Winnipeg for the Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championships presented by Volvo. And your leader right now is Michael Vandenham, but leading the charge is Derek Zanstra in that chase group, Ralph Gagne, Evan McNeely, I believe that's Jeff Bush and Aaron Schooler. So we've got 6 riders in the hunt. I'm gonna get a time gap here. It is running 2 or 3 seconds now between Mike Vandenham and Derek Zanstra and the rest of that chase group. So Michael Vandenham trying to make a charge here, but Derek Zanstra, he's not going to have any of that. He's chasing down Michael Vandenham right now, and they are on that bridge section. They're now heading towards that Shimano triple sand pit. We've still got 6 riders in contention here.
And Vandenham is not letting up one bit. The gas. He does not want this group to come back and be a big group coming into the finish. And we're getting word now that it's actually going to be an 8-lap race. These guys are flying. So I think the officials decided that they wanted to add another lap to this race so that it wasn't too short. So we've still got, what, another five laps to go.
Yes, these riders are on their 3rd lap here, so they still have about 4.5 laps to go in this race. They're now in the triple sand pit, the first level of that sand pit, and we've got 3, 4 riders, I think 5 you could say riders together. That is Jeff Kabush and Aaron Schooler just on the back of this group. But now they're in the sand, and this is where Derek Zanstra might struggle a little bit. We've got some cyclocross skills here being played out here in the sand. Michael Vandenham, more of a focused cyclocross rider. Derek Zanstra, more of a mountain biker. And Michael Vandenham being cheered on by the fans. He's leading this race. Brandon Moore and Michael Vandenham leading the Canadian Championships.
And so now the tables have turned a little bit. We've got Vandenham off the front a little bit with Gagne, his teammate, sitting in 2nd position, kind of sitting there holding the rest of the guys back and forcing them to have to come around him if they want to close that gap. So a little bit of, tactical instincts going on here between these 2 teammates.
Absolutely. So Red Truck Arnaud, the first ever Canadian cyclocross elite team, and they're having a great start here. So look at this gap now. So Michael Vandenham on that muddy descent that was off camera. Look at the fans are starting to go really wild here. They've got a Manitoban leading the national championships here in Manitoba, Winnipeg, Manitoba. Oh my goodness, what a battle, but it is far from over. They've got over 4 laps to go, and they're now onto the run-up. That is Michael Vandenham. Now Derek Zanstra making a charge. He's trying to reel in Michael Vandenham. Derek Zanstra opting not to shoulder his bike. These other riders shouldering their bikes. So we've got a huge chase group here. Michael Vandenham trying to lead this group. Michael Vandenham, the fans trying to squeeze every extra decibel out of their lungs right now. They want to see a Manitoban win this race. That time gap now sitting about 3 seconds or so right now between our leader, Brandon Moore, and Michael Vandenham, the local rider, and Derek Zanstra out of Trenton, Ontario. Wow, what an exciting battle we have got here. They're in the Volvo Vortex. They're just on this cobbled climb out of the Volvo Vortex, and they'll be heading towards the start-finish. Wow.
And what you can't see is now that the course is dried out, these cobbles are really a non-factor. But earlier today in the earlier races, when there was still a lot of mud out on the course, there were a lot of crashes happening, and there's some cracks in those cobbles. You really have to be careful about which line you pick through those cobbles. But these guys, they're just doing it flawlessly.
So our riders, our lead riders heading towards the start-finish. Wearing number 1 right now, and number 1 in the hearts of the local fans is Michael Vandenham out of Brandon, Manitoba. He's leading this race, the fans cheering him on. He's trying to get a victory here for the local fans. Wow, so that time gap is now sitting about 3 or 4 seconds. Michael Vandenham, he's got 4 laps, so we're at the halfway point here of this race. And he's got 4 or 5 seconds on that chase group, and I think that might even be Jeff Kabush trying to lead that chase group. Wow.
They're flying. They're not letting up one bit. Vandenham is still staying on the gas. He knows he has a teammate behind him. If he gets caught, then his teammate can go off the front next, and he's there to kind of block and chase and do all the work if Roth, gets off the front if and when he gets caught.
So into that Tetro design, Nola Payne. That is Michael Vandenham sitting with about a 3 or 4 second lead on a chase group of about 5 riders. We got a lot of teams represented in that chase group. Scott Three Rocks Racing. It looks like Aaron Schooler has moved into 3rd spot. So Aaron Schooler in the blue has moved into the 3rd spot. I think, Jeff Kabush, Aaron Schooler, Ralph Gagne, Derek Sanstra, and Evan McNeely in that chase group right now. And we've got a countrywide national championships. Oh, it looked like maybe a little bit of a slip up. A little bit of a bobble by Michael Vandenham, but they're now onto that PCL Construction and Carpenters Union flyover. They did a great job building that flyover for us. So that gap closing a little bit right now.
And Aaron Schooler has moved into 3rd place. He's sitting in 3rd right there behind Jeff Kabush. He's ready to go if this comes back and they bring Vandenham back. He's ready to go with the next attack, and he's in a great position to follow anything that goes if Vandenham comes back.
So we're going to take a short break right now. Looks like our pack is coming together again. So we're going to take a short little break right now. We've got a little bit of Canadiana. If you grew up watching TV here in Canada, you remember the Hinterland Who's Who. So we've got a great little piece of Canadiana coming up right now.
The male prairie cyclocross rider rises for the season in late summer. Due to the very brief interlude between summer and winter in this region, their season is approximately only 8 weeks. Early in the season, they often struggle with the challenging demands of the sport. The unusual mating rituals of the male prairie cyclocross rider are often unsuccessful. However, the sweaty scent of the male rider can be irresistible. When the season is drawing to an end, the prairie cyclocross riders will form a nest. After a long winter of hibernation, the small riderlings will hatch. At only 8 weeks, the riderlings learn to quickly remount their bicycles. Often, the young riderlings will be faster than the male father. For more information on the male and female prairie cyclocross rider, why not contact winnipegcx2015.ca.
Now back live here on the 5th lap of the Canadian Men's Championship, and we've had a shuffling of the deck here. Jeff Kabush now in the lead, Michael Vandenham is 2nd, and Aaron Schooler has moved up into 3rd place, and it looks like we've got six riders, I believe, in that front group. What an exciting battle we have here on the old railroad bridge. They're going to do that 180-degree turn. Wow, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 riders in this lead pack, and we're past the halfway point of this race. We're on the 5th lap. It's going to be an 8-lap race. So I'm hearing rider number 6, that is Mark McConnell. He's in the pit. He had a rear flat. Mark McConnell of Hot Sauce Cycling was having a great ride. He was with this lead group, but we're understanding he's had a rear flat. He's in the pit. He's in and out. He had a quick bike change, but he's fallen out of this lead group. Mark McConnell of Hot Sauce Cycling just out of this lead group now.
Now that the Scott Three Rocks guys are taking over the lead of this race with Jeff Kabush on as they head into the triple sand pit. Now the Scott guys have decided that this is their race to control. It's their tactics. It's their, they're going to take over the lead so that they can dictate how this race unfolds now.
So we're now back into the Shimano triple sand pit, and we got 6 riders battling for a national championship. Any one of these riders could win a national championship, and every one of these riders wants a national championship so badly. Jeff Kabush, he got a silver medal here last year in the national championships. I talked to him after the race. He wants to come back, and he wants to get a victory here today. He's so badly shooting for that. But Michael Vandenham, the local rider, in second spot. Then in third spot, that looks like Derek Sandra now in third. Aaron Schooler in fourth, Ralph Gagne in fifth, and Evan McNeely of the Norco Factory team in sixth place right now through that third portion of the Shimano Triple Sandpit, right in the harbor, right at the junction of the Red and Assiniboine Rivers. You can see just in your picture, Mark McConnell sitting in seventh spot, and I believe in eighth spot, I believe that is Derek St. John of the Silver Pro Cycling team sitting in eighth spot right now. So now our leaders back in sight here. They're at the lower end of the harbor. If you're just joining us, this is the Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championships at the Forks. We've taken over the entire Forks. The Forks have been a great partner here, allowing us to host this amazing national championship race. It looks like Evan McNeely, desperate moments for Evan McNeely right now.
You know, Vandenham, I have to admit, is having a stellar race today. He has either been off the front or right there chasing the guy who's in the lead. And I think he's riding a clean race, a very strong race. So I think we're going to expect big things from him at the finish today.
He's having a great ride. But Jeff Kabush, the veteran Jeff Kabush, who's won 5 Canadian Cyclocross Championships, looking for a 6th. He missed out. In 2014, he was the national mountain bike champion, but missed out on the Canadian Cyclocross Championships. This year he missed out on the mountain bike national championship, so he's looking for a national championship here in Winnipeg in the cyclocross discipline. And we're starting to get a little bit of a gap now. And this is interesting how things have shifted. Before we had 2 red truck riders battling with the Scott Three Rocks rider. Now we've got a Scott Three Rocks rider in front, then a red truck Garneau rider, and then another Scott Three Rocks rider. I believe that is Derek Sandstra now in third spot. So this race has been shuffling around, and they're about to finish their 5th lap here. This is so dramatic. Aaron Schooler trying to push the pace. Ralph Gagne back in 5th spot, and Evan McNeely about 4 or 5 seconds back in 6th place right now.
And one of the things you're not going to see in the men's race this afternoon is riders getting lapped. The UCI has a rule that if you're 80% off the leader's time, you're going to get pulled. And because there's only one race today, unlike in the women's race where there was the elite women and the U23 riders, the U23 riders, they were racing their own race. So they were able to get, the officials were not going to pull them because they were racing their own race. Whereas today, these leaders are not going to start passing riders because those riders have.
So Jeff Kabush at the front end of this race. We're now on to lap 6 of an 8-lap race. So we're now into the business end of this race, and the business at hand right now. Oh, look at this. Look at those movements. Derek Sandra tried to make a move, and then Michael Vandenham immediately responded. Same with Raphael Gagne. Wow, we've got some team tactics here at the front of this race. 5 riders in the running for a national championship here. They're on their 6th lap. They're coming off that Tetro design Nola Payne. Again, you're seeing riders taking different lines, and those different lines, different lengths, but they're all about the same time through that corner. So now it's Derek Zanstra in the lead. A total reshuffling there. Michael Vandenham in second. The Brandon rider in second place in that red jersey, wearing number 1. In third spot, now on the flyover, that is Ralph Gagne. And then in 4th spot, Jeff Kabush, and 5th spot, Aaron Schooler. Aaron Schooler 5 times on the podium at the national championships, but never a winner. Could it be his this year? He's living now in Germany, originally from Edmonton, Alberta, living in Germany, and I know his fan club in Germany is watching right now, and they are on the 6th lap of this race here. Wow.
And this is where we're really going to see elbows start to fly. You know, those first couple laps as the group is all together, they're all kind of jockeying for position at the front of the race, and you know, it's really intense and aggressive. Then in the middle, as the gaps start to open up, things kind of settle down a little bit. They're willing to let somebody go off the front, maybe have a little bit of a gap. And then when things come back together with these 5 or 6 riders at the finish, there's no love lost between these guys. They're going to do everything they can to lead, to take the lines that they want, and to really put the other guys on the back foot.
Wow, so we got Jeff Kabush now in the lead. Sorry, that's Derek Zanstra in the lead. Michael Vandenham in second, Ralph Gagne in third. So this team tactics is so interesting. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with the Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championships presented by Volvo.
My name is Sophia. When I was 2 years old, I got leukemia. I had lots of pokes and lots of medicine for 2.5 years. It made me feel sick, and some made me very hungry. Some made me not be able to walk for a whole year. I even lost all my hair. I had 80 sleepovers in the hospital. My brother and sister always came to visit me. Now I'm all done my medicine, but I still have to come every month for finger pokes. It's okay though, because I always get candy and fun things to play with. And all the people are very nice to me. There are lots of kids like me who have cancer and need our help. I hope you can help. This is a picture of me today. I'm a real little girl.
So we're now back live here in Winnipeg for the Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championships presented by Volvo, and it is a very, very dramatic race here. We've got 5 riders in our lead group right now. 2 Red Truck Garneau riders, 2 Scott 3 Rocks riders, and Aaron Schooler of the Focus Cyclocross team. It's actually a German team. Aaron Schooler living in Germany now, originally from Edmonton, Alberta. His fan club in Germany, I mentioned earlier, watching him live here on our broadcast. Also, if you're on site, you can watch live the big screen right in the harbor area. I can see lots of people watching the big screen right now. This is a dramatic race. Evan McNeely trying to get back to this group. Desperate moments now for Evan McNeely trying to get back to this lead group of 5 riders. These guys are on their 6th lap. We are about, I'm going to say, about 20 minutes or so, 22 minutes from the end of this race.
I think we can pretty safely say that the winner of today's race is going to come from this group of 5 riders. If Evan McNeely makes it back to this group, that's going to be an extraordinary ride by him. That's a decent gap for him to try to close when these guys are really fighting for it at the front. But you never know as it comes down to the end of this race, and the guys in that lead group kind of start eyeballing each other and trying to get somebody else to go to the front and take the lead. And so you never know what can happen. And everybody's riding a clean race, so I don't expect that there's going to be anything happening out on course that's going to take these guys out of the race, but rather whether somebody goes to the front and just throws the hammer down and starts to open up the gaps.
So they're now back in the Shimano Triple Sand Pit here in the harbor area, and that is Derek Zanstra taking over the lead out of Trenton, Ontario, with the Scott 3 Rocks team in the lead. Then we've got the 2 Red Truck Garneau riders. The fans know this is dramatic. A Manitoban is in this lead group. He's going for a national championship, but right now leading this group is Derek Zanstra. And then it is Michael Vandenham, then Raphael Gagne, then Aaron Schooler, and then Jeff Kabush. Like Meredith said, the winner is going to come from those 5 riders, and it could be any one of those 5 riders. And they're now on their 6th lap. So they have about just over 2 laps to go, about 2 and maybe a third of a lap to go. So we're now in the probably less than 20 minutes from declaring our final national champion of the day here. What a ride, what a race we are watching here right now.
I have to say I'm so impressed with how Vandenham is riding today. He has been so on point today. He's been so focused. He's been either leading or he has been second right behind the chase group or right behind the leader of the race. And he is not letting anybody get away unless it's himself or his teammate. And these guys are making easy work of this run-up right here, getting over the flyover quickly, right, and going into the Volvo Vortex.
Yes, the Volvo Vortex. That is Derek Zanstra, Michael Vandenham, Ralph Gagne, and they're starting to get a little bit of a gap now on Aaron Schooler. Derek Zanstra's putting the hammer down Is this the move that Derek Zanster is going to try and make and try and ride to a national championship right now? He's pushing hard. He's got that little bit of a gap here on the cobble climb, but Michael Vandenham has been so attentive at the front of this race, and now the team tactics are flipping back to favoring Red Truck Garneau with the 2 Red Truck Garneau riders and the 1 Scott Three Rocks rider.
Yep. I believe that's actually Gagne in second, right behind Zanstra, and Vandenham right behind him. And they're in a great position right now with a little bit of a gap over Schooler and Kabush. And if they can open up that a little bit more, they are going to be in perfect position going into these last 2 laps.
Yes, going to be 2 laps to go when they come through that finish line. 2 laps to go for these riders, 2 laps to declaring a national champion. And I know all 5 of these riders wanted a victory here today. And they're through the start finish now. And that is Aaron Schooler in the lead. Aaron Schooler has moved into the lead. The Edmonton, Alberta rider, now living in Germany. I thought maybe he was not able to respond to this. Maybe he heard me, and he's responded, and he is now at the front of this race.
Yeah, he's in a bit of a precarious situation here because he's racing against 2 guys from Scott Three Rocks and 2 guys from Red Truck. So it's interesting to see him at the front because it's not necessarily his responsibility so much to be at the front. He's got to be ready. If any of these other guys attack, he's going to have to be ready to be on their wheel. So we'll see how he ends up playing these last couple laps and if he forces some of the other guys to come to the front.
So these riders, it looks like they're responding to Meredith Miller's commentary here. As soon as she said that, Aaron Schooler falling back into second place, getting a little bit of a draft here behind Michael Vandenham, the Manitoba rider, now back in the lead here, but Aaron Schooler responding now. He wants to be, I think what Aaron Schooler is doing, he wants to be at the front of this group now on these final 2 laps. He does not want to get caught behind any riders here in these technical sections.
No, you definitely, as the race goes on and riders are getting tired, I think the course is pretty straightforward. There's nothing that's going to take these guys out of the race, but he does not want to get caught on the back foot. He doesn't want to get caught at the back of this pack so that if a Red Truck or a Scott Three Rocks rider attacks, he's not in a position to respond. So he's in a great place right now to respond to anybody who goes off the front.
So we're now onto the Ridley Ridge here. Ridley, of course, our official bike supplier here, available exclusively at Mountain Equipment Co-op in Canada. Michael Vandenham in the lead, Aaron Schooler in second, Rolf Gagne in third. 4th place, I believe, is Derek Zandstra, and 5th place, I believe, is Jeff Kabush. So the Scott Three Rocks riders are now at the back of this pack. I'm wondering if they're having a little bit of conversation here, trying to decide how to react to this. But now there's a little bit of gap. We didn't see it on camera, but all of a sudden there's a little bit of a gap. And Aaron Schooler, that's the reason why Aaron Schooler has moved to the front of this race. He does not want to get caught behind any sort of slip up, any sort of bobble. We're just going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with the Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championships presented by Volvo. We are back live here in Winnipeg, Manitoba for the Canadian Championships. Tomorrow it's the Manitoba International Grand Prix. I'm joined here with Meredith Miller as the co-commentator. She'll be racing tomorrow in that Manitoba International Grand Prix. Meredith, you looking forward to that?
Oh, absolutely. It was a blast racing out there today in the wannabe Canadian race. Had a really good time and definitely looking forward to getting out there again tomorrow.
So at the front of this race now, they are on the old railroad bridge, and we've got a little bit of action now. We've got our front 3 riders separating themselves from this group of 5 that we saw last time And it is Ralph Gagne leading this race, and Aaron Schooler responding just a couple seconds back, and Michael Vandenham on his lead. Aaron Schooler, this is the time now for Aaron Schooler. I think they're pulling away from those Scott Three Rocks riders, so Aaron Schooler now, he has the responsibility to chase down the red truck Garneau rider Ralph Gagne and Michael Vandenham on his wheel. But Aaron Schooler, if he wants a national championship, the only thing that he does not have is a Canadian cyclocross national championship. He's got every other step on the podium. He's going for that national championship, and he's got to chase down Raphael Gagne right now.
Yeah, Vandenham is in a perfect position right behind Schooler. He does not have to do a single bit of work right now. This is all up to Aaron Schooler to bring back Raphael Gagne, and if that comes back, then Vandenham is in perfect position to counter that that move. And Vandenham can just sit there on Schooler's wheel for a while, and if Raphael stays off the front, as in the last lap as it comes down to the wire, and Vandenham is feeling good and feels like he can drop Aaron Schooler, that's when maybe he'll make his move and come around. But until then, he is just going to sit there and let Aaron do all of the work.
And Aaron is doing some great work here. He's closing that gap to Ralph Gagne here through the Shimano triple sandpit. So we see that's in the rider in blue, that is Aaron Schooler. And they're going to be coming towards the second portion here of this Shimano triple sandpit. Sorry, the third portion of the Shimano triple sandpit. Ralph Gagne, Aaron Schooler, and Michael Vandenham. That is your top three right now. They're going to head towards that muddy downhill, and then they're going to come down back through the harbor towards that run-up section. So Aaron Schooler, 5 times on the podium in the national championships, trying to reel in Raphael Gagne to get back into a position to win here in Winnipeg. So Aaron Schooler out of Edmonton, Alberta, Ralph Gagne out of Quebec, and Michael Garrigan, Brandon Bourne, and now living in Alberta.
These Scott Three Rocks guys, Kabush and Zanstra, definitely have their work cut out for them to get up to these two chasers, Schooler and Vandenham. If they don't, then the podium is out of sight for these guys, but they've still got enough time to do it. They just have to really make the effort to get across, not be too content, and make that big push right now to close that gap.
So we're now on to the run-up, the Prairie Mobile run-up for the second last time. Ralph Gagne, the 2015 Pan American Games champion, Aaron Schooler in blue, Michael Vandenham in red, and Jeff Kabush now making a charge. He's got back to that group battling for second, third, and fourth spot. Derek Zanstra now back in fifth onto the run-up. So we're starting to get some time gaps here. Raphael Gagne sitting now with about 3 or 4 seconds on Aaron Schooler, and they're coming to the conclusion of their 7th of 8 laps here.
Now Jeff is about to make contact with Vandenham and Schooler, and we'll see when he does if he sits in and takes a little bit of a breather, or if he just goes right around him, goes to the front to start bringing back Gagne, because really it's going to be his responsibility to help Schooler close that gap.
So Aaron Schooler out of the saddle there, trying to close that gap here, just finishing up the 7th lap. They'll have 1 more lap to go, and these riders are going under 8 minutes a lap. That's the lap times roughly that we saw last year. So this course has firmed up, and it's very fast. But Jeff Kabush now, you can see he's back in this race here. Derek Zanstra now about 3 or 4 seconds back from that group in second, third, and fourth spot. We should see them coming through the start-finish shortly.
I have a feeling we're going to see Kabush make contact with Schooler and Vandenham, so we'll see how the dynamics play out between these three, and I would expect that we're going to see Jeff have to come to the front and start doing some work to help Aaron bring back Raphael Gagne.
So we've got a 5-second gap now, 5 seconds between our leader, Raphael Gagne, in the red jersey there of the Red Truck Garneau team, and then 5 seconds back to Aaron Schooler, Mike Vandenham, and Jeff Kabush.
These guys can't really start playing around too much, because if they start looking at each other, if Jeff starts expecting Aaron to do all the work, then Ralph Gagne, and now we're seeing Jeff Kabush come to the front just like we expected. He's got to take on some of the responsibility. If he wants to win this race today, he has to take on the responsibility of doing the work to bring Ralph Gagne back.
And that is what he is doing. Jeff Kabush wants a national championship. You can see it in his eyes. Jeff Kabush wants a national championship, and he is making the charge right now, and that's putting Aaron Schooler into a little bit of a spot of bother here. Jeff Kabush now putting the hammer down. He is trying to reel in Raphael Gagne here on the last lap of the Canadian Cyclocross Championships here in Winnipeg. We'll be back tomorrow broadcasting the Manitoba International Grand Prix. We've got Meredith Miller, Jonathan Page, Alan Krugoff, Jeremy Duran, Gabby Duran, Anthony Clark racing tomorrow against the top Canadian riders. But right now, we are on the last lap here of the Canadian Championships, our last race of the day. And it is Raph Gagne out of Quebec in first. Jeff Kabush, the veteran rider in second out of British Columbia. And then the Manitoba rider, Michael Vandenham. Jeff Kabush going for a national championship here, trying to reel in. And look at this, a little bit of a foot down, a little bit of a bobble. Very, very interesting here.
From the way I'm seeing these guys go through this twisty section, I'm starting to think that it might be getting a little bit more slippery out there. The sun is down, it's behind the clouds, it's starting to get dark, and so I think that grass is becoming a little bit slick. So these guys are having to be a little bit more careful in these twisty off-camber sections, just as we saw. They were taking their time, not taking too many risks going through those turns.
So we're going to take a very, very short break, and we're going to be back with the exciting final lap here of the Canadian Men's Elite Championship. We'll be right back with the Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championships presented by Volvo.
Finding the time to exercise isn't always easy. Luckily, finding the motivation is. Staying in shape reduces your risk of getting cancer, plain and simple, and that's all the motivation I need. Playing baseball, walking the dog, riding a bike, it all helps. It's not about achieving a perfect body, it's about staying active. Make the time and the choice to reduce your cancer risk.
For more information, visit kickcancer.ca.
Join the movement to kick cancer. 5 simple things can reduce your risk of cancer by up to 50%. Choose a balanced diet with plenty of fruits and vegetables. Get active to maintain a healthy body weight. Avoid tobacco and secondhand smoke. Protect yourself from UV rays. Follow cancer screening guidelines and see your doctor for regular checkups. Take the pledge to reduce your risk of cancer. Join the movement at kickcancer.ca.
An initiative of Cancer Care Manitoba Foundation.
So we're back on the final lap here of the Men's Canadian Cyclocross Championship, and you are looking at Raphael Gagne in the lead right now. We're going to get a time gap. It is now about 3 seconds. 3 seconds back to Jeff Kabush. Jeff Kabush, last year at the National Mountain Bike Championships, he was sitting back 4th or 5th place on that last lap, and he charged back and won that 2014 National Championship. He's a veteran rider. He knows how to pace himself, but I think that's about 4 seconds now. 4 seconds. Raph Gagne looking under his shoulder there. Oh, Raph Gagne's got to be going through absolute pain here. He's trying to stay away from these 3 riders. He's been away for the last approximately lap or so. He's been away from this group. He made an attack and he's holding on to it, but it's about 4 or 5 seconds, and they're going to be heading over to the harbor area right now.
And now we're seeing some interesting tactics going on between Schooler and Kabush. You know, Kabush has been on the front for a large majority of this lap. Now Schooler is going to have to take his turn on the front. If he doesn't try, he has no chance of winning the race. It's this kind of like, it's a tough cat and mouse sort of game, because if you go to the front, you know you're going to waste some energy being on the front, but if you don't do it, if you don't go to the front and chase to bring back the leader, then your chances of winning this race are gone.
So we're now into the Shimano triple sandpit for the last time. It's about a 3 or 4 second gap, but any sort of mistake right now, and it's going to take one of these riders out of competition for the podium. But Jeff Kabush, he's leading the charge. This is his moment. He's got to close that gap now if he wants a national championship in Winnipeg. And the fans are going wild here. They're cheering on Raphael Gagne here in the Shimano triple sandpit. The last time through the Shimano triple sandpit. And Kabush is making the charge. He's got a little bit of a gap. Kabush, this is his moment. He's trying to close that gap. Can he do it? He may run out of real estate, but this is his approach to racing. He holds off, and on the last lap, he's paced himself. He's got the energy to try and close that gap. We'll get an exact time gap here as they come out of this muddy descent. Raph Gagne now in the lead, and that time gap is sitting actually about 4 seconds now. 4 seconds for Ralph Gagne as he heads over to the run-up for the last time. We have not had a Quebecois winner of the National Cyclocross Men's Championship in 20 years, and now Jeff Kabush solidly in second place, and Michael Vandenham and Aaron Schooler in the battle for third. We're now the last time on the run-up. That is Raphael Gagne. That is Jeff Kabush. Jeff Kabush making a charge right now. It's about 3 seconds now. Oh my goodness, he's pushing so hard. Now Michael Vandenham, he's in that final podium position, but Aaron Schooler right on his wheel, and there's Derek Sandra sitting in 5th spot. They're now into the Volvo Vortex for the last time. We are less than a minute from the conclusion of this exciting men's championship race. The fans are running to the finish. They want to see who the winner is going to be. Ralph Gagne onto the cobbled climb the last time.
This is going to be pretty tough for Kabush to bring this back. There's not a lot of time before the finish line, but he is definitely making a charge. This is where you have to go absolutely 100% all in, and that is exactly what Gagne, Kabush, all of these guys are doing right now. Vandenham, Schooler, they are still on the gas, pushing everything they've got to the finish line.
The team tactics are over, the pain is on, and they are going for a national championship, and we're going to have an exciting sprint for that bronze medal position. Our riders are heading towards the finish line. The fans are cheering. We've got thousands of fans at that finish line. Who is it going to be? Who is going to be your 2015 Shimano Canadian Cyclocross champion? Are we going to have a first ever Quebecois champion? And it's going to be, ladies and gentlemen, Raphael Gagne, your champion in Winnipeg. And look at this, second place, just a couple seconds back. Jeff Kabush, the veteran rider. And in third place, it's going to be Aaron Schooler. And fourth place, Brandon Bourne, Michael Vandenham. And in 5th spot, that is going to be Derek Zandstra. What a ride.
That
what a race.
was pretty incredible. That was a great race by all of these guys, throwing down and giving it all they had. You know, in Vandenham, you saw him come across the line in 4th place, but throwing his arms up because he was so excited for his teammate, Raphael Gagne. To be 2nd or 3rd on the podium probably meant less to him than it was to see his teammate win the race today.
That's why he was cheering across the line. That's what he said before the race. As long as one of the Red Truck Arnaud teammates wins, and that's what happened today. Ralph Gagne in 1st, Jeff Kabush in 2nd, Aaron Schooler back on the podium again in 3rd spot, and we had 5 riders within 15 seconds of each other at the finish. A very, very exciting race here. We're still waiting for 6th place, and this looks like Derek St. John in 6th place. In 6th place, that was Derek St. John in the orange jersey of the Silver Pro Cycling Team. So that was a great ride by Derek St. John. Now we've got a sprint for 7th place. That is a Norco factory. Sorry, that is Mark McConnell across the line. So a great ride by Mark McConnell. He had a flat. He was in that lead group. He had a flat, and now he's back in 7th spot. So he fought back into a 7th place position. Then we had a Norco factory rider in, I believe, 8th spot. Yeah, so Ralph Gagne in 1st, Kabush 2nd, Schooler 3rd, Vandenham 4th, Zandstra 5th, and then I believe it was Derek St. John, Mark McConnell, and then Evan McNeely. So those were your top 8 riders here in Winnipeg. A dramatic race, and we've got one more rider finishing up. That looks like Craig Ritchie, the 3rd member of that Red Truck Arnaud team. He'll be happy that his teammate Raphael Gagne took a national championship here in Winnipeg. Raphael Gagne, he was the big favorite, and he delivered here in Winnipeg.
He absolutely did. He and Mike Vandenham really took charge of the race today and put the Scott Three Rocks guys kind of on their back foot every now and then. And those guys, Kabush and Zandstra had to do a lot of work because Vandenham and Gagne were really on form today.
And coming through the finish now, that looks like Cam Jetty of the Scott Three Rocks team across the line, the 3rd member of that team. What a tactical battle we had between these teams. So we just have some technical difficulties here. We're just going to go back where this is the Prairie Mobile run-up right now. So this proved to be not too challenging for these riders. It did get a little bit rutted out. We were worried about the mud, the rain from yesterday, but it doesn't look like it was a huge factor.
No, not at all. It wasn't slick. It wasn't slippery. There was great traction on that run up, and there were even little footholds by the time we got around to racing at noon this afternoon. So you kind of had little steps where you needed to place your feet on the run up. Other than it being steep, it was pretty straightforward.
So a great race here in Winnipeg. We're broadcasting live again tomorrow at 2:45 Central Time for the Manitoba International Grand Prix. My co-commentating partner, Meredith Miller, will be in that race, racing against the top Canadian women, and then we'll have the men's race at approximately 4 o'clock Central Time tomorrow. So you want to join us for that. We'll also have footage of the podium presentations and our new national champions here in Winnipeg. So you want to join us for that tomorrow on Sunday. But what a day here on Saturday. National Championship Saturday in Winnipeg. This is the second year Winnipeg has hosted the championships. They'll move to another Canadian city next year. Winnipeg has done such an amazing job with these national championships. Over 300 volunteers involved in this event. We've got one more rider crossing the line. That looks like that is Andrew Lesperance across the line here in Winnipeg. So we're going to wrap things up shortly. Any last words here, Meredith, about the race, about the course, and about the race tomorrow?
You know, today was a really fantastic day. From getting to race myself earlier in the day to watching these two races, the women, the elite women and the elite men, just going for it with such a prestigious jersey on the line. It's really motivating. I had a blast racing myself, and then to watch these races really motivated me, and I'm excited about tomorrow. I'm excited to get to race in Winnipeg again. It's been a pleasure being here, and I'm actually a little disappointed that it's the last year that we'll get to race here, because I would absolutely come back in a heartbeat.
Well, we'd love to have you back. If we have a race here again, we'll definitely invite you back. And it was an absolute pleasure to have you here in the commentating booth with us. Great job on your commentary today, and good luck racing tomorrow.
Thank you.
So we're going to wrap up things here in Winnipeg. Again, a great day, a great job by the volunteers. Big thank you to our production crew here putting on the live stream. Again, we'll be back tomorrow for the live stream. Thank you so much for joining us here in Winnipeg. We'll be back tomorrow. Just got one rider finishing up across the line, but we'll be back here tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for allowing us to share the love with you around the world here. This is Winnipeg, Manitoba. We'll see you tomorrow.